With Thanksgiving now behind us, it is full steam ahead as Georgia works to complete its third count of the presidential election. Counties were allowed to begin the machine count on Tuesday, and our Mara Siriani explains where the count currently stands.
Because the Secretary of State's office knew the Thanksgiving holiday would disrupt Georgia's machine recount, they went ahead and told each county to post publicly when they plan to pick back up. That way, monitors and members of the public can observe. Fulton County began its machine recount Wednesday. At last check, they plan to continue tomorrow at 7 a.m. Elections officials in DeKalb County said they resumed at 7 o'clock this morning. Clayton resumed at 9. Both Cobb and Gwinnett counties are expected to resume Monday. Last Thursday, elections officials announced the results of the hand retally, which stemmed from an audit, but as the Secretary of State's office explains, was not considered an official recount under state law. According to State Elections Board rules, an official recount must be conducted by high-speed scanners. Raffensperger's office says it's possible the results could be slightly different from the original tally, but the overall count would likely remain unaffected. Georgia's 159 counties have until 11:59 on December 2nd to complete the machine recount.